I always say that Coachella is the best and worst weekend of your entire life.
Hello and welcome back to the Quirky Cast. I'm Indiana.
And I'm Teddie.
And it is officially that time of the year. Once again, festival season is upon us. So today we're going to be super excited to talk about several tips and tricks and our own experience with Coachella.
Yeah, all the good and the bad and tips and tricks, what you shouldn't do.
Yes, and I will say that we have had our experience of going to several Coachellas. I was trying to think of how many I've actually been to. I think I've been to 5 official years.
Wow. I think I've only been to 3, maybe 3 or 4.
Like ever since I think 2016 was my first year. That was like my graduating present. I begged my mom. I was like, I need to go to Coachella this year. Like, please buy me a ticket. And that was my first experience, and it was super fun. And I went every year since, up until the one year it was canceled.
Yep.
For those of you who don't know what Coachella is, where have you been?
Do you live under a rock?
Yeah, every year amongst this next 3 weeks, honestly, in April, is when all of our social media feeds are just stormed in with so many festival pics and outfits and everything.
Yeah, and it's like, do people go to Coachella to listen to the music or just to get dressed up and take some cute pics?
I mean, honestly, I love just to being able to wear fun outfits that you don't wear on a daily basis.
That is true.
I love being able to experiment and grab I don't know, just pick out some fun things that you won't normally wear. I feel like Coachella is the perfect place to actually experiment with your fashion and your outfits. And I also just love being able to see what everybody else wears. That's my personal favorite part.
Yeah, definitely. Because everyone is wearing out of the box outfits and no one's going to judge you and be like, oh, that's a little too crazy.
Yeah.
Everyone's dressed up crazy and fun.
Yeah, I mean, there are the people who rate Coachella outfits each year, they're rating celebrity outfits. I hope to be on one of those one day. But so I guess that's when people judge, but
that's true.
I find it super fun, and I don't know, I love it. I look forward to it, and I'm just super excited this year. But yeah, I guess I will mention that I am going with a brand this year that I'm so excited for. Winx Club is sending me to Coachella, and if you don't know who they are the little fairy TV show that we all loved when we were kids, and it's so cute, so on brand for me because I love my sparkly costumes and my little fairy princess vibes. So I'm so excited. I'm going to be taking a lot of pictures and videos and overall content for the whole weekend, collaborating with them on their page, so stay tuned and look forward to that.
And I, unfortunately, am not going. I just, I have a love-hate relationship with Coachella. And the main thing is it's just so expensive. So we're also going to try to help out with some tips for housing and all that stuff, how to get the cheapest deals, if we can.
Yep, because we sure have gone our cheap routes sometimes of the years.
Oh, we have.
But yeah, so I guess back to my first overall question. If you don't know what Coachella is, it is a music festival that goes on for a whole weekend for 2 weeks. It is from Friday to Sunday nights, 11 a.m. to typically midnight. Sometimes it goes a little bit later in the morning, 1, 2 in the morning. But there are about, I don't remember the number, there's probably about 5 or 7 stages. Do we think?
Yeah.
Stages all performing music at the exact same time. So that's the thing that I love about this festival, is that if you're not vibing with one performance, one artist, you can just go across to the other stage and go listen to this other artist, which I think is really cool because you're able to experience all different types of music and see people that you've never even heard of and maybe fall in love with a new artist.
But the thing that sucks is when your 2 favorite artists are playing at the same time on opposite ends of the field of the wherever Coachella is held at. But yeah, and then you have to literally sprint to the other one so you can catch them in time.
Yeah, which we've also done many times. But yeah, I guess we kind of went over the festivals. So I think we should start off with where to stay when you're wanting to go to a Coachella. So Coachella is in Indio, California, which is Palm Springs, the desert area. You pass by the windmills. It's very, very, very hot.
Yes.
And there's many options that you can do. The ones that we pretty much recommend are hotels or Airbnbs. there's other options that we'll get into from there.
There's a lot of surrounding cities. Like you said, it is in Indio, but there's so many little cities around there. So like when you are looking on Airbnb or for hotels, like you can look at any of the surrounding ones. And I also feel like even if it's like 45 minutes away, if you have a shuttle pass, which we will get into, like if it's 45 minutes away or an hour for the hotel, I feel like it's not that bad.
Yeah, I very much agree. And I feel like that's honestly the best route because a lot of places are more available a little bit out of the way. It's like a 30-minute drive or so, which we'll get into like how to get to the actual festival from there later. But yeah, I guess pretty much just I always recommend looking at hotels or Airbnbs and just seeing the general area, not specifically keying out like one city you want to stay in. But I will say that the closer you get to the festival dates, the more expensive it gets, the less options there are, and that's kind of what I'm dealing with right now.
Yeah.
We're just gonna go over a few examples of places that we have stayed at. So one of them being a super cheap option was a Motel 6, and there was 6 of us sleeping in a 2-bedroom hotel room.
And if I remember correctly, it wasn't even that cheap.
I don't think it was.
I think like we each paid $600 or something like that for 6 of us.
And you know what? Our sleeping arrangement, let me tell you. I just remember me and our friend Zoe, me and her were sleeping like normally on a bed, okay? We're sleeping like normally, 2 people on a bed, and Teddie is just diagonal or cross by our feet on the bed. And we were just doing that on both sides, on our bed and then our other bed. And yeah, but we all fit, we all managed, and we all honestly managed to get ready for the festival in that tiny little room.
And also hotels do usually ask how many people, and I remember we were all so scared, like, oh, they're gonna see all of us walk into this room and everything, but we were fine.
I feel like that goes with like any hotel. I've never had an experience. I'm sure it's happened, but I've never had an experience where they're actually like, let me see all the people that are with you right now.
Yeah.
Like, cause sometimes like even when we went to like Hawaii, like some of us like waited outside while the other people checked in, but it's like, are they really going to say anything? I have no idea.
I wonder. Comment down below if that has happened to you or if you know someone that has happened to.
But other ideas, we did stay in a very cutesy Airbnb that we found. I think we found it very last minute too, and it was super cute. It was like it had like pink walls on the outside. It even had like its own little, like, I don't even know, like land. Like, it was like a little ranch, and there was like animals roaming around.
Very desert vibes, like in the middle of nowhere.
And it was like, I don't know, it was super cute. But the only thing that honestly just really sucked about this place was that it was, I think, like an hour away.
Yeah, I believe it was around Joshua Tree, and I drove every night, and I was like nodding off. I was like trying to keep my eyes open after the festival. And yeah, it was far.
Yeah, I just remember like even me being in the passenger seat, I was like, I don't want to fall asleep, and then her fall asleep. Like I was even nodding off being like, okay, wake up, like make sure she's okay. Another option, which I maybe won't recommend unless you're that type of person that just loves to like, I don't know, camp it out. I guess not camping, but like, okay, whatever. So my boyfriend and his friends wanted to go out to the desert, and they have a bunch of like toys, like dirt bikes and like the 4-wheelers and all that sort of stuff. And so they were already planning to go out on a trip, and it's near Indio. So we were like, we'll go too, and we'll go sleep in the RV. And thankfully, Austin was able to drive us to the festival and pick us up every night, which was cool. I do think it still was maybe like a 40-minute drive or so, but it was free. You know, I think we freed everything.
Yeah.
Like our stay and our driving and everything.
Yeah.
But I don't know if we had the most comfortable sleep arrangement.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't recommend it. But I mean, I think there was so many of us also out there. But like if it was just me and you and we had the RV and we could like just sleep in the bed or whatever, like I was sitting in the front passenger, I was sleeping in the front passenger seat, just like sleeping, sitting up, and I was so uncomfortable. I woke up every day and I was like, ugh.
And the seat would not recline, so that's why. She was just literally like sitting upwards every night.
Every day I woke up, I was like, ugh, another day.
But I will say I feel like that was my favorite year that we went. That was like 2019. That was when I dyed my hair blonde for the first time. Oh, that was so exciting. Okay, and then just another option that I went when I was in like high school, and I went with a group of friends. We got an Airbnb, and obviously like some Airbnbs could be expensive, but I think the best beneficial factor that you should do is if you are going with like a huge group. Like I think we had like 10 of us in an Airbnb, so we were able to get a really big house that I think even had like a pool or something. And I just feel like it's a like fun party experience because you're with so many different types of people. And I don't know, I feel like it wasn't that expensive also. So if you do have a big group of friends, I would definitely recommend an Airbnb.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to go about this. I think me and Indiana, you know, we're just the two girls that hang out with each other and don't really talk to other people.
Yeah.
Not really, in a good way. You know, we always struggle to find a big group of people to go with.
That is very true.
And every year we are like asking around. We're like, oh, anyone want to go? But a lot of our friends also decide to go last minute. So it's hard to plan. And like, we can't be like, oh, maybe they're going to go. And then us get like a $4,000 Airbnb and be like, oh, well, here we are, just us two.
I know. And also, like, I don't know, a lot of other people have like other groups of friends where they've already booked stuff and then they don't have room for us. And then it's always like, okay, well, what are us two gonna do?
Yeah.
All of that to say that I do think in the best case scenario, if you had all the money in the world, I think the best thing to do is to book a hotel that specifically has a shuttle that takes you from the hotel to the festival. That way you have no problems of transportation at all, honestly. And you're able to just get ready, walk outside your hotel, bus picks you up, and there you go.
Yes.
And so we've always said every year, we're like, hey, we're gonna stay at the Agua Caliente. Like we're gonna stay at this hotel, and every year it's either sold out or so expensive.
Yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah, I think that's amazing. The shuttle is great.
And that goes into our transportation topic that we will talk about. So how do we get to our stay to the festival? Well, there are many ways. Some are great and some are horrible. So one being obviously the shuttle. I realistically think it is the best way of transportation, especially if you are somebody who wants to have fun, if you want to drink or participate in any other activities, because you're not driving at all. There are some shuttle spots that have park and rides. So those are when you drive to that hotel or that shuttle spot and you can park your car and leave it there overnight, or not overnight, but over like the whole day basically, which we have done. And I do know Agua Caliente is one of those options. I believe there's like 3 of them. And all of the shuttle stops are on like Coachella website. So you're able to look at all of them and see what hotel has the shuttle spots. So I always do that every year too.
And you could also see which ones are the ones that you could park there to go, because then you can stay at a different hotel if it's cheaper, that's like across the way or just somewhere that's closer to it, and drive 5 minutes there and then get on the shuttle.
But so the reason why we think it's the best way is because whether if you are staying at that hotel or you're going to do a park and ride, you literally go onto the shuttle bus. There's so many people waiting for it. They have buses coming every few minutes. It's just going to be the easiest way, honestly. And so this bus will just take you straight to the festival. There's no trouble on having to find directions or anything. You know, you just follow the line, follow the leader, and they take you there. And with that being said, at the end of the night, you just go back to where you were dropped off at. There are several signs saying that the shuttle buses are like this way, and they tell you which bus is taking you to which hotel. So it's super easy to find that. And you can obviously ask people who are working there too to make sure you're on the right bus. I do think that people, if they're a little too drunk, sometimes will be going on the wrong bus and you go to the wrong destination. But I feel like that is just the easiest way. And just to give a estimate of how much you'll be spending, I did look up the prices for this year specifically. I do know they change every year because so does inflation. But this year, shuttle passes are $140. You know, I mean, for the whole weekend, it could work out. Sometimes when it gets closer to the festival days, you can look up on StubHub and try and buy super cheap shuttle passes. There is also a StubHub center out there in Palm Springs, Indio area. So I do know that if you are ever trying to buy festival passes or shuttle passes or parking passes or any of that sort of stuff, very last minute, you're able to actually go drive to the location, walk in, and pick up your physical tickets and passes there.
Yeah, and especially I feel like we did that once and we were like, wait, how are we going to get our stuff? Because it is a physical ticket. Like, it's a physical wristband. You can't have it on your phone to scan in. And we were like, we have to go to this place. Like, what are we going to do? Like, what are we going to get? But then they just give you the entire like wristband and everything. So it's easy.
And yeah, you walk into like this huge building and they have different booths for different things, and they're like, okay, like wristbands are at this booth, like passes are at that booth, like just all that sort of stuff. And it's very organized. So go StubHub.
Yeah.
Okay, another option that I already mentioned was the parking lots. So if you are planning to just drive to the festival, there are parking lots. I think there's like a preferred parking. There is a VIP parking if you want to be a little bit closer, because if I do believe so correctly, I do think it's a little walk from the normal preferred parking all the way to the festival. You walk through the whole campsites.
Yeah.
And it's like kind of in the back a little bit. But, you know, you're walking all day anyways. So,
Yeah.
like, what's a few more miles?
Yeah, it is a little bit of a walk to get to the gates, and then you have to wait in the lines for the gates and everything. And then once you get through the gate, then you have to walk 20 minutes in.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what we did?
I forgot about these.
So did I. We paid some, I don't even remember how much it was. Do you remember?
I don't think it was that expensive.
Really? I feel like it probably was expensive, but we were like, oh well. Like it was like 110 degrees and we were like, we cannot walk this in this heat. And so we get on a little bike. It's like one guy riding the bike, and it could probably fit up to like 4 people on there. And they literally ride you,
like trolley you,
drive you to the entrance.
Yeah.
It's insane.
And like all of the bikes are like have carts and like shade covers, and they're all like decorated.
Yeah.
They have like lights. Some people have their like music jamming so loud.
Yeah.
And that's just what they do the whole day. They just ride back and forth and just take people and drop people off like all day long. And honestly, after even at nighttime when it's like you've been walking all day and you're just exhausted and you want to get off your feet, it is so nice.
Mm-hmm. They probably make so much money.
They
That's
definitely do.
insane. Because I feel like it was probably like $20 a person.
Oh, I do. It was like per person. It
Yeah.
wasn't even like an overall cost. And then they would
Yeah.
try and get more people. Like even if we had like a group of just 2 of us, they're like, I can't go yet. I need to get like a few more to really make the trip worth it.
Wow, I forgot about that.
So if you do decide to do the parking lot for the weekend, it is $249, which, you know, is more expensive than the shuttle. But I will say that, you know, if you do have a car full of people, you can divide that by like 4 or 5 people.
Yeah, how much did we pay for ours? I like don't have any memory of paying for it.
I don't remember either, to be completely honest. But I will say that it's still cheaper than the next option, which is if you want to Uber. And you may think, you know, you may go out to the clubs, to the bars at night, and you're like, Ubering's just so easy. I will say that Ubering is probably the worst form of transportation for Coachella weekend. And that is because you have literally thousands of people who are thinking the same exact idea. There could be thousands of people, but there will not be thousands of drivers, I will say. In our experience was a minimum of $100 there and a minimum of $100 back. So it is very expensive. I know because I was the one getting the charge on my card, and I would literally like look at the bill and I'm like, how is 15 minutes of a drive $100? Like we were literally driving not even that far. And I'm like, that's insane. But going there, honestly, I wouldn't say it's like the hard thing. They drop you off near where the parking lot is if you are parking your own car there. So you're not even getting there closer. You still have to do that long walk. But at the end of the night, it is the worst thing ever.
Yeah, from what I remember, I think they closed down a lot of the streets also, which I don't understand why they do that. It makes no sense to close down the streets. But they closed down a lot of the streets, especially right where the Uber pickup is. And then it's like you have no service, you have no battery at the end of the night, and it's just it's honestly horrible.
And also, like, so there's a little line where the Ubers go. It is honestly the worst thing, even like watching people trying to find their own Uber.
Yes.
Because people are just walking down the line, like trying to find the license plate number for which car is their car. And it's just like, it's literally a whole mess.
Yeah. And we left that little area and we were like, okay, we could probably get an Uber on the street easier. Nothing. There were no, I think that we like got an Uber and then they canceled on us.
Yes. I think I do remember getting several Ubers. I think it was like 2 or 3 times. I was like, thankfully I got one, and then it literally said canceled like minutes, like maybe 20 minutes later after we waited for them.
Yeah.
And this happened several times, to where we were literally walking the streets of Indio trying to get out of the parking lot to have somebody pick us up in the middle of the street, literally. And I think at this time it was like 2 a.m. or something.
Yeah, it was probably like 2 or 3. And also this was one of the times one of our friends got an Airbnb that was pretty close to the house, probably like the 15 minutes away from the house. And we thought that it was going to be such a good idea to park there, Uber there, and Uber back at night. And it was not.
Yeah. And I literally remember being defeated, and I was like, we're going to be spending the nights in the middle of the streets here.
Yeah.
Because we were not getting home.
Yeah. And then we're like trying to call all of our friends that we know are at Coachella, and they're like, oh, we have the same problem, or their phones are dead. And yeah, I was literally like, I'm going to be picked up here and killed.
No, yeah. And so that's why I'm like, to anybody who wants to even think about Ubering, do not. You know, if you want to just opt out of drinking for the weekend and just drive and park there, like, I would very much recommend doing that. Yes. Because Ubering's literally is a disaster.
I feel like, honestly, the easiest, the shuttle.
Yeah. The shuttle. Okay, let's go on to our next topic, which I believe should have went into where to stay, but I also think it fits with the transportation, because in these scenarios, you don't even have to do any source of transportation at all. There are several camping opportunities that you could do, you know, if you love to camp, which is why we do Airbnb and hotels, because we do not. I don't even want to imagine myself like trying to put on my makeup in the like yucky like hotness of the weather each morning.
Yeah, let me tell you one thing that you probably already know about Coachella, but it is, 1, so hot, 2, dusty. And all you want to do, either at the end of the night when you come home from the festival, is take a shower, or in the morning you just want, like, you feel so dirty. There's so much dust and dirt everywhere that, like, it's horrible. You get some gross sinuses,
like,
let's
you
say
were
that.
sneezing out some like black dust.
Yes.
Is crazy.
Yeah, so you want to have your own shower accessible to you.
But if you want to, you know, save some money, because I will say it is the cheapest option to do, which is why a lot of people do it. I also think that a lot of people love camping at the festival. The people specifically who like to camp at the festival, I think, are the people who are there for the party scene, for the music.
Yes.
You know, they don't care about getting dressed up. They don't care about, you know, wanting their pictures for the gram or anything. Like, I mean, maybe they do, but I feel like the people there are just there for the festival and wanting to just have a fun time overall.
Yeah.
So there are several camping opportunities. You can do car camping, which is you park in like a specific parking lot and you're able to put little like tents out next to your car. I believe so, right?
Yeah.
Because people can sleep in their car, but you also have the available space next to your car as well.
Yeah, you get like a kind of like a little like lot space kind of thing. So it's like your car can fit there, and then I think it's usually either like behind your car, so it like goes into your trunk kind of, but yeah.
And so that is $149 for the whole weekend.
Wow. That's actually not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad at all. I wonder if that is per person, right? Or do you think each spot is $149 and you divide that with how many people are in your car?
Huh.
I wonder.
I would say probably per car. But yeah, I don't know.
Because then if you have 5 people, that's like so cheap.
Yeah.
Wow. But then the same price is for tent camping as well, $149 for the weekend. And that's literally just picking out your own tents and your own blankets, and you just, you know, rough it out for the weekend.
I think it was last year maybe, but there was like really high winds and like flooding or something. Wasn't there flooding?
I think so, of some sort. I do remember seeing like videos of like people's stuff getting trashed.
Yeah, I just feel like it would be just my luck that the day that I'm like, you know, let's just go camping, our tent would be flying. There would be a tornado. It would be flying up in the air.
And we did see, I remember like what you were saying, the one day or the weekend when it was so windy, people's tents and umbrellas, dude, the umbrellas were literally going to like hurt people, because like these pointy sticks flying in the wind like could stab somebody or cars or anything. And so like that was terrifying, seeing that.
That's another thing, thinking like your car is just right there. I mean, it's like in the middle of nowhere. I feel like they don't have cameras around every area. Like I feel like people would just so easily like either rob you or anything could happen, you know?
Yeah, I mean, we do know that people do steal some stuff at Coachella, but I do also think I don't know if you're allowed to like leave for the weekend. Like, well, you have to, right? Like, I was thinking that all the cars are like parked in specific ways and people have their sleeping arrangements like already set up. Like, are people allowed to like drive out before the end of the weekend? I feel like they can't like trap you there though.
But you probably like sign something when you buy it saying like you probably leave like Monday at 8 a.m. or something like that.
Interesting. Or like, what if they needed to go drive to like the grocery store and go get something? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But if you don't want to roughhouse it that much, there is also glamping tents, which we just looked at like recently. I've never even looked at their options before. It's a huge tent. I think you can buy options of like, is it 2 people to like 8?
We did see that. Yeah, probably 2 to 8.
It's called glamping basically. So I don't even know what that means. Like, are you sleeping in actual beds? Like, it's just nicer, but you're still camping and you're like separated and you have your own lockable doors is what I did read on there as a feature. So if we are afraid of people stealing our stuff, then there you go. But those options were at the cheapest, I think with the 2 people sleeping arrangements was $3,198. But you do get your Coachella festival tickets for the weekend as well with that.
Which is good because the tickets are usually around like 600, like 5 something to 600.
Mm-hmm.
And then I feel like this, like staying right there, not having to worry about transportation or anything, it's pretty good.
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah. What I do want to talk about though, just to give a fair warning, with our experience, even though we haven't camped there ourselves, our experience seeing the lines, whether it being in the morning or the night, you know, because you are camping with several like thousands of people, there are communal bathrooms, communal showers, communal charging ports, communal like probably water stations as well. And even like when we park in the daytime and we're walking to the festival, we see the line of people who are lined up with their shower shoes and their towels, waiting in line to go take a shower. I just cannot imagine like the idea of me just literally not even be able to get out of bed and go shower. Like, you have to go wait hours to go shower or hours to go use the restroom.
Yeah. And then also after you shower and you're all wet, you have to walk back in the dirt and get dirty again right after you shower.
Literally. But that's just a fair warning to like point out basically if you are wanting to do that. I did see tips on people just saying to wake up super early and go shower before like most people wake up, which is something you could do. And then also if you wanted to use the restroom, I would probably say the same thing. Somebody did say that they just hold their pee and they go to the bathrooms when they get into the festival. So
are the bathrooms the same outside as they are inside? Like, are they all porta potties?
I would think so.
See, I just hate porta potties so much, and I like literally try not to pee at Coachella.
Dude, I was talking with Bella today, and because we were at the beach and I had to pee so bad, so I had to go pee in the beach bathrooms, which are disgusting. Yeah. And I was like, wow, I never had this problem like back then. And I'm like, imagine if we are in the middle of a crowd with all of our friends and I can't leave because I will not find them again. Yeah. And I'm like, I wonder what I'm going to do this year when I have to pee like every hour.
Yeah.
So,
but the thing is, and I don't know if this is like a scientific thing or just in my head, but it's always so hot there. And we're always drinking so much water, so much lemonade, like trying to stay hydrated. But it's so hot that you're sweating so much that like you like almost don't even have to pee because it's just like going out somewhere else kind of thing.
I did hear Jeff FM, Jeff Wittick, who just ran like a marathon or whatever. And somebody asked him, they're like, how, because it's like 26 miles.
Oh, wow.
So like you're running for like hours. And they're like, how do you like go stop to use the restroom? He's like, no, like you're just sweating that whole time you don't have to pee. It's like you literally sweat the pee out of you.
Yeah.
So like exactly what you said. So, okay. So maybe I'll just be sweating instead. Maybe I'll be sweating some yellow.
I do remember one of the Coachellas. I was like, wow, I didn't even pee this weekend at Coachella. I don't know. I just hate porta potties too. There is, I think, one restroom somewhere in there
in the back next to the Do Lab.
Yes. And it's like, it's still kind of bad, but it's not a porta potty.
It's like actual restrooms. I would say honestly like the beach restrooms.
Yeah.
Like you go in and they're like the cement stalls and stuff like that.
They have actual like sinks there and everything. Yeah.
So that's pretty much going to wrap up our stays and our transportation for the festival. So now we're going to talk about, so once you do get into the festival, I wanted to share a bunch of tips about their resources that they have in there. I know we just brought up the bathrooms. So I guess it's not really a resource, but so all their bathrooms mostly are porta potties. There are several porta potties like outside when you're waiting to get into the festival. That's another thing I want to bring up is that I think out of every like concert or even like festivals that I've been to, they have like 3 different checkpoint lines to go into. Like when you're going into the festival, you have to scan your wristband like 3 different times before you finally make it to the official like inside the park, whatever it is. But you know, I would rather them check us as many times as they can or they want to, just to make sure we're all safe for the weekend. Once you do get into the festival though, what I love to do, and I very much recommend, especially if you are somebody who wants to bring like multiple items. Like for example, it does get super cold. For it being really hot in the daytime, like 100 degrees, it gets so cold at nighttime.
Yeah.
And when we're out there wearing our like small little like clothing pieces, we get to freeze at the end of the night. So I love bringing like a jacket, maybe like, I don't know, a different like a backpack or something where I can just hold all of my stuff, especially if you're buying merch throughout the day. So they do have lockers. And I love being able to, the first day when we come in, I love bringing my sunscreen, maybe some like reusable waters or like whatever I want. And I leave it in my locker for the whole weekend. So that way I don't have to actually bring it with me every single day.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really good thing to do. And their lockers this year, I believe they were like so much cheaper, but this year they're $79 for the smallest locker, which is a size medium. They have a medium, a large, and an XL.
Okay.
And even the mediums are huge.
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to think of like a JanSport backpack. You can fit that backpack in there along with like several other things. They're very deep in like dimension where like you can just squeeze a bunch of stuff that you want in there. So yeah, I will be buying a locker this year and I need to do that before they're sold out.
Yeah. Also, you were talking about the merchandise. I think that the line is long all day long, anytime. But I do think that if you are getting there earlier in the day, it's best to do that first, because I do think as the day goes on, the lines get so long. I did get the sweatshirt at Coachella if you're watching on YouTube, but I believe we did get there a little bit early and we didn't wait that long. But I do remember after that, it was like the line was crazy long and it looked like it would probably be like a 3-hour long line.
Yeah, and especially if you are like waiting, even if you're waiting till Sunday to go get your merch, everything's gonna be sold out.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the things. Even now, you sent me the website of the merch this year, and like a lot of the good ones were already sold out online, which maybe they're gonna bring more like the day of, which
Probably.
I would assume they would. Another thing that I think Coachella does very well, especially when all of us have our phones, and you know, like phones run out of battery a lot of the times. There are several charging stations throughout the festival, which I love. They are just the outlets though, so you do need to bring your own like cords actually, and I think they have some are like the actual like plugins that you need, like the actual like
the cube.
Yeah, like you need your actual cube to be able to plug it in, and then there are some that are without the cube and it's just that little device, your cord,
The USB.
there you go.
Yeah.
The USB. But I would very much recommend to bring your charging cords with you so you're able to charge your phone throughout the festival. But you can also spend a little bit more money to bring your own portable chargers. That way you don't have to actually sit there and stay at those stations.
Yes, I am such a big fan of portable chargers. I have so many of them and I literally bring them with me everywhere and anywhere. Like, forget Coachella, I'm bringing it with me to work, to Disneyland. Because your phone's going to die wherever you go if you're using it a lot. So it's always a good thing to have it.
Another resource that I find to be so necessary is their water stations. You are able to bring in your own reusable water bottles. I did learn the hard way because I lied and told people they could bring in their Hydro Flask. So apparently you can't bring in like your hard aluminum like water bottles, but you can either bring in, I don't know, possibly like plastic ones, right?
Yeah, I feel like the last day that we went like a few years ago, they were letting us bring in water bottles, but I feel like we usually can't bring in like water, like with water in them already.
Gotcha. But either way, if you are able to bring in your own reusable water bottles, which I know you can, I just don't know what specific kinds you are allowed to, which that will be on the Q&As on the Coachella website. I do check that out all the time to make sure like things that I'm bringing are okay. But they do have the water stations where you're able to actually go like fill up your water. And I don't think that the lines get kind of long, but they go by so fast. And especially if you're saving some money and not wanting to spend like so much money on water throughout the day.
Yeah.
I think it's a very necessary thing to do.
Speaking of spending money on water, I do remember we got this like lemonade where they like make the lemonade right in front of you, and it was like $15 for the glass, which it was like a decent sized glass, but still $15 for lemonade. And it was the best thing I've ever had. And I got like 5 of them that day.
Yeah, no, literally my mouth's watering right now, and I'm like, I cannot wait to have that.
Oh,
But I also wanted to bring up too, like, if you didn't want to bring your own water bottle, even just buying one water at the festival and just holding on to that bottle like throughout the whole day, put it in your backpack, in your bag, and just using that bottle to refill your water throughout the weekend or the day.
yeah. Do you remember, can you bring food into Coachella?
I don't know. I do know, like, obviously the campsites have their food.
Yeah.
I don't know, to
I
be
feel like you
honest.
should be able to, but I don't think that we've ever brought in food.
Yeah, interesting. But to go along with that, their food options that they have, I think they have a food for every single genre of food there are.
Yes.
You know, they have like the types of Mexican food, they have the American food, they always have like Chinese food. They just have every style of food that I think suits for everybody.
Yeah, they have desserts, everything.
And they also have a vegan option every year. So there is always literally something to suit for everybody, which I do love. And it is fun being able, you know, sometimes it is just very hectic when you have all of these options and you're like, well, what do I want to eat? Like, there's so many options. I do think that their food items are pretty good for it being like a music festival, but they are very expensive, obviously. I just remember, I think I got like a slice of pizza for $20.
Yeah. One thing that I remember that was the best thing ever was like the churro ice cream thing. That was so good.
We got it like every day.
And we would always get it at night when it was like 50 degrees and we were freezing, but we're like, we have to get our ice cream tonight.
Yes. Oh, I was thinking about that too. I was like, oh, I hope they're there. Last time we went to, they had a Monty's burger, which is like a full-on vegan like burger joint, like a whole food truck. And that was my first time ever trying it. And I really liked it. The next section that I want to bring up are the attractions that they have at Coachella. And because we all see like everybody taking pictures in front of either them being like the art installations that are there every year, what I do love is that every year they have a new theme for the festival basically, and they have different art installations that like really amaze people. The one that I was thinking specifically was that really tall rainbow building that I think the first year they did that was literally a shock to everybody. It was like the most beautiful thing, to where they have kept it there every single year since.
And it's air conditioned.
Yes. I remember seeing like videos of some people saying that they've gone to Coachella every single year, but they've never even walked inside of there. And I think it's really cool to just go experience, and obviously to cool off, like when you're like hot and you just want a little break. But the line's not even that long, and you just wait in the little tiny line to walk. All you're doing is just walking up to the top. But it's really cool because all the windows are different colors, and when you're inside, you literally see only those colors. It is kind of like an eyesore, you know, when you walk out and you see like the real light again, it's like, whoa, like, okay. But it is like really cool to experience. But other than that, there are other art installations that they make and set up every single year. So I'm so excited to see what they do this year.
Yes, I do remember one year they had like something where you like went into a little dome and you laid down and it was like all stars or something. And it was air conditioned there too. And those are the best.
Wait, I think there was like a bunch of beanbag chairs and we would literally all lay down. Oh my gosh.
But that one always has a long line. I remember last time we went, I don't know if it's the same thing, but we like wanted to go over there, but it was such a long line. We're like, okay, never mind.
Another thing that we all see is their huge Ferris wheel. And I was curious, I didn't look it up, but I was curious, do you know if we have to pay for that?
I think we do.
Okay. I believe the first year I went, I believe we didn't have to pay.
Really? Didn't we go like the last year that we went? We went on it. I do think that we had to pay though. I feel like I remember seeing like a little ticket booth right next to it, and then
I do remember the ticket booth, and I remember like us going up there. I just don't remember if it was like us asking and they were like, no, but why would they be there? You have to pay.
Yeah.
Okay, so bring some extra cash, card. if you want to ride the Ferris wheel. But it is really cool because you are able to see the entire festival when you're up at the top.
Yeah.
Especially at nighttime. It's so fun to see all the different lights and all the different shows that are going off at the same time. And the last topic that we're going to talk about is pretty much just the layout of Coachella in general. I did look up a map to see how many stages there actually are, and there are 8 stages in total that are playing music all day long at the exact same time.
That's crazy.
For all different types of people and genres, which I think is really, really fun. I'm just going to read off and kind of talk about each stage a little bit, starting with the Sahara stage. Which I would say is the best. I would describe it as like the rap stage. Okay. Realistically, you're gonna have like, I mean, Post Malone perform there. I'm thinking of like Juice WRLD perform there. Black Bear perform there. Just like that style of music. It's always a stage that like goes hard, and it's like the stage that I can imagine everybody like mosh pitting at or jumping at. It's a stage with a bunch of just light fixtures all around it, and just the lights are flaring out.
Yes, I think that we also saw some kind of like DJ there. I can't remember who it was, but I think we saw a DJ there, and I do remember the lights were like crazy there, and I was like, whoa, what am I looking at?
Another stage that I personally really love, especially during the daytime, is the Do Lab. And how would I describe this? I would describe this as like all of the like EDC girlies who have like their clothing pieces that they kind of just flare out in the wind, and they're dancing, and everybody has like shades on and are all like vibing, like very just like cutesy, like fairy, like very fun,
like the free spirits. Like they definitely look like they're on some good drugs. And
no, literally though, everyone
they're just there like
that's literally it. That's all you hear the whole time. And everyone's just like vibing. It's so fun. But like especially during the daytime, all of the awnings are just super colorful and like very bright, and it's just like super fun to go experience in the daytime. Also, I think they have, I mean, throughout the whole festival there's water misters to like spray you, but specifically at that one, it's like along the whole outside of the tents. It just like sprays you, so even it's like a good tent to go to like cool off a little bit. I'm gonna kind of join these 3 into like the same category. We have the Mojave, the Gobi, and the Sonoria. And I feel like, how would I describe these? I feel like these are a lot of the kind of like the indie artists, I would say.
Yeah, I just feel like those are all kind of like just like the smaller artists. They played there. Yeah. I think Olivia O'Brien played there.
She did perform at one of those. I do remember that.
My TikTok is blowing up recently.
Really?
Like I've gotten like 1 million views in the past like month.
On that one. Okay, so for those of you, if you did not see, last time, so it was in 2021?
2022.
Okay, 2022. We went to go see Olivia O'Brien. She was performing in the daytime at Coachella.
Yes. And we got there early for that.
We got there so early. And like most of the time we don't get there like during the day, like in the middle of the day, like at your 12 o'clock 1 p.m. time, but we got there just to see her performance. And this was around the time when like her song Jocelyn was taken off on TikTok. And if you don't know what that song's about, it is, I guess it's not even allegedly, because she even says it's about Logan Paul. And basically it's just like how Logan Paul like cheated on her, even though they weren't technically dating, but like hooked up with some other girl whose name was Jocelyn. And so she's performing this song on stage, and Logan Paul comes out
at the very end where she's like, I hope that it was worth it hanging out with Jocelyn. And he comes out with a sign, and he like unfolds it and opens it up, and it says like it wasn't worth it or something like that. But I was recording, and I was like, oh my god, this is so good. And we, after her set, because I think that was the last song, we stood there and we were like, we need to get this out on TikTok right now. And I had no service, and I'm like trying to upload it, trying to edit it. And and it did blow up right away.
Like right away. Yeah. I literally remember like me being like, we are not leaving this point until you post it right now. Because you know, when things like blow up, it's like whoever's video gets out there, whoever's video breaks the news first is the one that blows up. Yeah. And so just knowing that hundreds of people also saw that experience, like they probably posted it too, but I was like, you need to post it first.
She was just on Trisha Paytas's podcast.
I watched it.
And I was like, she started talking about Coachella, and I was like, oh my god, she's gonna talk about how she saw my TikTok video, but she never did.
To go off along with what else other stages we're talking about, there is the Yuma. The Yuma, I would also describe as like literally a dance party. It is enclosed. You go inside. It's all like air conditioned, and it's just like a full on stage. I don't know. Yeah, like they're kind of just dancing inside. They're just vibing the whole time.
And that's kind of near the front, right?
Yeah.
Like near the merch stand.
Yeah, no, literally right behind the merch stand.
Yeah.
Perfect. And so then leaving the best two for last are the main performance stages. We have the outdoor theater, which is the far back right, and these are where all the big artists perform. It's not the headliner artists, because the headliner artists do perform at the Coachella stage, which is the one that is really right in the center, the back left basically. And so the people who are on right before the headliners often perform at the outdoor stage. Yeah. And so they kind of are like the last people to perform right before the headliners. So everybody moves from the outdoor to the Coachella stage. That's another thing to talk about is often, I mean, I think people are performing throughout the like whole night, even when the headliners are performing. I do think there's other people.
I kind of think that maybe like they perform during the start of it, but I think that they end a little bit like,
gotcha.
Like I think the main headliner goes on like later.
Gotcha. So they're literally like the last people. So that is why it is a little hectic at the end of the night, because everybody at all 8 of these stages all concise into one stage at the Coachella stage. And I will say that like even it's crazy, because sometimes I remember one year we weren't even like in the front, because you can push your way all the way to the front. I remember we were like in the middle of the field, like in the back middle, and once like the performance like starts, people just concise, and you turn around and you can't even see the exit. Like there are people everywhere all the way around you, and like you have your space, you have your little like free space to roam around and like move around the field, but like it is just crowded like crazy.
And especially leaving, and it sucks if you do really like the headliners, because then you want to stay for the whole thing, but I suggest leaving before the headliner ends. But it sucks if it is someone that you like.
Like at least to make your start to exit, because once that performance is done, I literally explain it like this every single time, but it's like I feel like it's the best like explanation. It's just like I feel like I'm literally like cattle, and you are getting herded to the end of the field, and you're just walking like a penguin, moving so slow for miles to make it all the way to the exit.
And I feel like it's even like that even if you leave early, but it's even worse if you stay till the very end.
Like it is, I would say, like minimum of an hour just to even walk like out of the whole festival.
Like to walk to the shuttle place, and it's horrible.
It's a lot. So definitely do your preparations. I do know that we left early. Like the last time we went, the weekend was performing on Sunday. And we left early because I didn't know any weekend songs, and now I do. But like back then we're like, whatever. We went to Applebee's instead.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about that. You know, I always say that Coachella is the best and worst weekend of your entire life.
That is so true. And I'm very excited to experience it because I forgot about it. You know, I haven't been for 2 years. So I'm very curious to see if I have a horrible time. Maybe this will be my last year I ever go.
And we say that every year. We're like, this was the worst experience of our life. We're never coming back. And then it's always like the next year we're like, okay, we'll go.
I think out of everything, like I'm not really somebody who gets FOMO, I would say, but I think out of anything you ever see on social media, like if somebody's going traveling, I'm like, oh, that's cool. Like I could do it too. But I think the idea that Coachella is literally only 2 weeks out of the year.
That's true.
And I just imagine like me sitting at home, seeing everybody post about it. That I think is when I get the most FOMO ever. I'm so sorry. I'm like
No, I know. I'm rethinking my choices here. And I have like really thought of it. I'm like, oh, like I do really want to go, but it's just, it honestly is so much work.
It is.
It's so much brain prep. Like you really have to like be ready to go and ready to have the worst time of your life.
Literally, even like, I wouldn't say this is like horrible prepping. It's fun. It's like, okay, I got to get my outfits. I gotta get my hair done. I gotta get my nails done. I gotta get a spray tan. We need to find a stay. We need to find how we're gonna get there. Like we need to, I don't know, just do a bunch of stuff. Even like food and drinks for the hotel to even like be able to refresh or eat something in the morning.
Because either way, you're going to spend a lot of money, but you want to try to save as much money as you can, but you aren't going to win.
Yeah. But all of it to say that it should be super fun. I am super excited. So me saying this, I'm not trying to discourage anybody else's time or even mine. I am so excited. So make sure, you can follow me on Instagram or TikTok at Indiana Bows to stay tuned for the weekend. It is, I believe, in like a week and a half, basically, by the time we're posting this.
So it's April 12th.
Yeah. And then the second weekend's the weekend after that. And then the third weekend is Stagecoach, which we didn't even mention. So I'm excited to be there for the first weekend when the grass is green. Everybody's bright and ready, like the workers even probably are like great attitudes because by the time it's the third weekend, the workers are probably like, F everybody. Like, I don't want to be here anymore.
They're like these drunk people.
So I think that's pretty much all of our tips and tricks that we have thought about, can come up with. If you have any other questions, definitely feel free to reach out to us and ask us, because since we are so knowledgeable on these topics, we definitely can share some resources to help you out.
We hope that all of this information will help you all out if you're going to Coachella, and maybe it'll convince you not to go to Coachella. Maybe you'll hear all of this and be like, you're right.
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe I should stay home.
Yeah, maybe I should save some money. That's what I'm doing this year. But that is it for this episode. We are so excited. We have a fun episode next week that we are going to do, talking about some fun and maybe not so fun experiences that we have had at Coachella.
Yes, I was already bringing up some things to like Teddie, and she was like, whoa, I forgot these things happened. So I'm so excited to bring up like either crazy stories, people we've met at Coachella.
Yes.
And just our overall experience.
We are so excited for next week's episode to share the fun things. That is it for this episode, and we will see you all next time. And we are
the Quirky Cast. Bye.